do apple snails eat? Are you curious about what apple snails eat? You might have heard that apple snails and mystery snails are the same creatures, but this is a common misconception. If you're in the market for a mystery snail and end up with an apple snail, it could lead to more than you bargained for. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore the dietary habits of apple snails and shed light on the key differences between these two fascinating aquatic creatures. What are apple snails? Apple snails are among the most commonly kept snails in aquariums. They are often mistaken for mystery snails due to their striking similarity in shape and color. However, apple snails can grow up to 6 inches in diameter, dwarfing the 2-inch size of mystery snails. To learn more about the distinctions between mystery snails and apple snails, check out our guide here. Similar to mystery snails, apple snails have adapted to breathe both air and water. They possess both gills and lungs, primarily aiding them in their natural habitat. In environments like swamps and shallow ponds, where the water can be oxygen deficient and dirty, their lungs enable them to survive. While they can't remain out of the water for extended periods, they can endure a few hours outside water, a useful survival adaptation in the wild and an interesting trait for aquarium enthusiasts if the tank lacks a secure lid. Nerite snails versus mystery snails. What is the difference? The most significant difference between nerite snails and mystery snails lies in their diet. While mystery snails will consume some algae, their primary food source is detritus found in the tank. On the other hand, nerite snails excel at devouring algae, making them the better choice if you're specifically seeking an algae cleaning companion. What tank conditions help them thrive? In their natural habitat, apple snails can be found in various locations, including ponds, rivers, swamps, and lakes. So, what conditions do they prefer in an aquarium setting? Tank mates. Apple snails make excellent additions to most aquariums. They are active and enjoyable to observe, yet they maintain a peaceful and docile demeanor. Although they may consume plants, they do not harm other living creatures. While it's preferable to house apple snails with other peaceful species, they can often adapt to more aggressive tank mates. Their shells serve as a protective mechanism against potential aggressors. Equipment. Ensure that your aquarium has a securely fitted lid to prevent snail escapes. Apple snails are naturally curious and tend to explore their surroundings. Moreover, they seek air to lay their eggs, so they may attempt to leave the tank. Although they can survive outside water for a few hours, if you don't locate and return them promptly, they will dry out and perish. Apple snails also favor calm waters, so excessive water current can stress them. If you plan to house these snails, make sure your tank's filtration system is not too powerful. Water conditions. Apple snails thrive in water conditions similar to those favored by most tropical fish. However, they do have specific preferences to maintain their shell health. Hard water is preferable over soft water for them, as they require calcium for shell integrity. If your water lacks natural calcium, you may need to provide supplements such as cuttlebones, seashells, powdered marble, or calcium-rich vegetables. What do apple snails eat? Apple snails are voracious eaters and will consume almost anything presented to them, even more so than mystery snails. While they do not prey on live fish, they are omnivores and will scavenge the bodies of deceased fish. Here are some of the foods that apple snails prefer: dead fish, smaller snails, snail eggs, green, leafy vegetables, detritus-like leftover fish food, and plants. Unlike mystery snails, apple snails have a penchant for eating plants, which may deter some aquarists from keeping them in planted tanks. If you desire a planted aquarium, mystery snails might be a better choice. Do apple snails eat algae? Similar to mystery snails, apple snails also consume algae. Given their larger size compared to mystery snails, they may be more effective at cleaning your tank of algae. However, if your aquarium contains live plants, apple snails are more likely to target the plants and ignore the algae. What to feed apple snails? While apple snails are opportunistic eaters, it's essential to provide them with regular and balanced meals to ensure their health. Here are some of the best foods to include in their diet. Vegetables like spinach, carrots, and lettuce. Algae wafers or bottom feeder pellets, which contain essential nutrients for their well-being. How much food? The amount of food you should offer your apple snails depends on their appetite and the number of snails in your tank. Generally, avoid overfeeding and provide an amount that can be consumed within a few hours. If there is leftover food after this period, remove it to prevent water contamination. You can adjust the feeding amount based on their consumption. Apple snails are the larger, plant-loving cousins of mystery snails. They share similarities in tank cleaning and compatibility with various fish and invertebrate species. However, remember that apple snails can grow significantly larger than mystery snails and have a preference for eating plants. If you have a larger tank with artificial decorations, apple snails can be a wonderful addition. For smaller tanks stocked with live plants, mystery snails may be the ideal choice. Understanding their dietary preferences and care requirements is crucial for creating a thriving aquatic environment.